Give way to the information briefing of Lieutenant Colonel Ronaldo Sarmiento of the Philippine Army.
I'm good sa kanal. Before I proceed with the briefing, allow me to greet our panelists for this morning's press conference. Again, the Commander of the 10th Infantry Division, Major General Ernesto Torres Jr., sir. Good morning, sir. We also have the Commander of the 101st Infantry Battalion, Brigadier General Durante III. I would like to greet also the Governor of Davao del Norte, Honorable Edmundo, represented by Ms. Rosalinda Rapista of the Provincial Social Welfare Development Office. We also have the Provincial Director of the Davao del Norte Provincial Police Office, Police Colonel Albay, who is joining us through BTC. Mr. Ronald, the officer in charge of DSWD, BGen 11, Manager. Let me greet Atty. Edmundo Albay, the Regional Director of CHR, Region 11, represented by Jose Marie Pagliana. We also have Honorable Mayor Marisa Teresa Timbol, the Mayor of Kapalong, Davao del Norte. The Provincial Director of NCIP in Davao del Norte, Mr. Roger Lumbin, MPA, Manager. Joining us through BTC, Ms. Mary Grace Abuda of DSWD Kapalong. Dato Arturo Davao, the IPMR of Kapalong, Davao del Norte, Manager. Also joining us through BTC is Honorable Governor Santiago Cani Jr. of Agusan del Sur, Honorable Mayor Lorife Otasa of Loreto, Agusan del Sur, and Barangay Kapitan Honorable Amado Mantayona Jr., the Barangay Kapitan of Barangay Gupitan, Kapalong, Davao del Norte. Allow me also to greet our media partners who are present here today. Dito na lang po isa-isa again. We have friends from SMNI, Public Information Agency, Region 11, DXOW, Agila News, Action Right, Action Radio, through BTC, DXTC, Ireland. We also have 5th CRG, the Division Public Affairs Office, Mindanao Times, Newsport, and DNN. Again, a pleasant good morning to everyone. It's a rather bright and sunny morning today, but I'm afraid the stories I'm going to share with you will not make anyone's day any brighter. While we can proclaim another whole of nation victory against the snowball of surrenders and the neutralization of CPP-NPA members by our unit, today's conference is not about the accomplishments of 60IB and its partner stakeholders. Rather, we would like to again stand witness to the harrowing effects of the communist terrorist ideology that continues to poison the hearts and minds of our children, abandons the universal virtues of love, respect, and empathy for others, and systematically destroys numerous lives and families. Because today, it is with sad and heavy heart, I will narrate to you the ugly plight of our young brothers and sisters in front of you, as former members of the communist terrorist group, CPP-NPA. I will presume that most of us here are not new to hearing the painful stories of the victims of the 5-decade terrorism of the CPP-NPA. However, while they may sound similar to the others, allow me to share you the stories of these young people not long rescued from the long claws of the communist terrorists, for they too have their unique versions of this attitude. As duty bearers, the 60th Infantry Battalion, the 101st Infantry Brigade, and the 10th Infantry Division, together with our partner local government units, national government agencies, civil society organizations, believe that we have the moral, if not legal, obligation to be instruments by which these stories, these truths, should be told. After all, many of our countrymen continue to fall prey to the lies of the CPP-NPA continue to propagate especially among the innocent, the poor, the underprivileged. Thus, if we are to fight and defeat such lies, we need to come forward with the truth, no matter how difficult or ugly they may be. So today we also come together as active participants, convey the message that this communist terrorism needs to end now. For some years now, members of the National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict have now extended its arms to the farthest reaches of the country and even abroad, have made significant strides in this campaign to finally end the local communist armed conflict perpetrated by the CPP-NPA and its legal fronts. We have seen numerous successes to better the lives of those Filipinos who have been put in misery and forced to struggle beyond their already difficult lives due to this conflict. In 2019, we declared the Guerrilla Front 34 of the CPP-NPA's Sub-Regional Committee 4, Southern Mindanao Regional Committee as dismantled. The once mighty Davao Abusan Command of the NPA, who struck fear amongst many Davaoenos and Abusanons, were no more. In the first quarter of 2020, we likewise dismantled the Pulang Bagdad Command 4, and in the last quarter of 2020, we likewise declared Guerrilla Front 33, also of SRC 4, dismantled. It's becoming more clear, however, that the dismantling of these communist terrorist groups was not simply the result of our military operations. Working silently but fastidiously in the background are our local chief executives and other elected officials, local and national government employees, teachers, social workers, agricultural and livelihood technicians, legal practitioners, media partners, and many others. Adding formidable strength to our efforts against communist terrorists are the community influencers, the tribal leaders, and civilian volunteers whose only weapon against the enemy is their hope and aspirations for their land and their people. But despite all of these whole-of-nation achievements, the clear and present danger that is the CPP-NPA continues to deceive our children and our brother IPs and threaten our families. And we need all of you to help us tell their stories. So let me now present to you the stories of Alias Mayet, Christine, John, Boto, Marga, Chacha, Jiboy, Marian Bato, and finally Alias Kamo. Offender of two female minor MPAs. On July 3, two members of the CPP-NPA's Weekend Guerrilla Front 3, Alias Mayet and Alias Christine, both of whom are minors, aged 16 and 17 respectively, voluntarily surrendered to CCIP through the tribal leaders of Barangay Sabon, Durante, Abusan del Sur. Mayet was recruited when she was only 14 years old. Is the designated squad medic of Weekend Guerrilla Front 3 before she surrendered. She is a member of the Atamanogo tribe, originally from Barangay Dupitan, Kapalong, Davao del Norte. Before joining the NPA, Mayet's family, along with many others, were brought to UCCP Haran back in 2014 when she was only 9 years old. It was there where she was indoctrinated with communist ideologies until she was convinced to join the armed struggle in 2019. Meanwhile, Christine, also a member of the Atamanogo tribe of Barangay Dupitan, is a designated political guide of Weekend Guerrilla Front 3 before she surrendered. She was also recruited when she was only 14 years old. Both Mayet and Christine experienced armed confrontations with government forces during their time in the NPA, and they were exposed to harsh conditions in the hinterlands of Davao del Norte and Abusan del Sur, trying to evade our operating troops. They recounted the days being forced to walk for miles without rest and food, and wondering every day if it would be their last. Eventually, Mayet and Christine, realizing for themselves the lethal reality of being an NPA and the hopelessness of their circumstance, decided to leave the group to become the normal teenagers they ought to be, hoping they enjoy the life with their families, having access to proper education, and deciding for themselves their own future. Upon surrendering, Mayat tried to contact his father, alias Pano, who is a political instructor of Weekend Guerrilla Front 3, to convince the latter to surrender to CCIP and return to the folds of the law. She also tried to do the same with her mother, who up to this day is still trapped or detained in UCCP Haran with her other siblings. Another one of her brothers is still active in the CPP-NPAs Southern Mindanao Regional Committee. Mayat and Christine are currently under the care of the Municipal Social Welfare Development Office of Kapalong. They will be enrolled to the government's EPIC to assist them as they transition back to their normal lives. The surrender of 7 MPAs to include 2 minors. 2 months later, on September 2021, another 7 members of Weekend Guerrilla Front 3 surrendered to 60IB. 2 of them, alias Buto and alias Marta, are both minors, while 2 others were also recruited when they were still minors at 16 years old. The others are alias John and alias Chacha, both 19 years of age, both recruited when they were still 16 years old, alias Chiboy, 21 years old, alias Marian, 22 years old, and alias Pato, who is now 14 years old. All of them are also indigenous peoples belonging to the tribal groups of Atamanobo, Agusanon, Umayamnon, and Umayamnon. The voluntary surrender was facilitated by the tribal leaders and barangay functionaries of City of Bagtok, Barangay Gupitan, Kapalong, Davao del Norte, who at the time were closely working with CCIP's community support program team deployed in the area. Most of them recalled that they were enticed to join the CPP-NPA because of the promise of financial compensation called Supamil, or Suporta sa Pamilya, while their siblings would be given free education through the Mindanao Interfaith Services Incorporated, or MISFI Academy, and Disalagpungan. However, the CPP-NPA failed to deliver on these promises. Those Supamil were received by their families and their siblings, contrary to receiving free education, were forced to stop going to school since both MISFI Academy and Salugpungan have since ceased to operate due to various violations, irregularities, and its links to the communist terrorist group. Much like Mayat and Christine, these 7 went through many difficulties during their time with the NPA. They recounted sleepless days and nights, extreme hunger, eating only the occasional kamote and other root crops available in the wild, and the trauma they felt after every encounter with government troops. They said that they would never wish another soul to suffer as they did, so they have chosen to voluntarily submit themselves to the authorities to take another chance at a normal life. They will also be enrolled in the EFIT program. We also rescued a severely ill and abandoned member of Weekend Guerrilla Front 3. On September 29, with the help of locals and tribal leaders of Barangay Gupitan, the 60 troopers rescued alias Tuldo, who is now 21 years old, who is an active combatant under Weekend Guerrilla Front 3, and was, as I said, was abandoned by so-called comrades at some local in Sitio Bagtok, Barangay Gupitan, due to his deteriorating physical condition. The locals then reported the situation to 60IB and we immediately decided to send help. With the full support of the Kapalong LGU under Mayor Timbol, Tuldok was brought to the nearest district hospital where it was discovered that he had tuberculosis and ulcer. With his rescue and enrollment to EPIC, we are determined to help him get back to his proper shape and guide him as he starts anew in his life. Let us show a video of the time he was rescued. So immediately after the rescue of Bulldog, the CCIB troopers figured in an encounter with immediate Guerrilla Front members, and this resulted to the death of Mayen's father, alias Banog. So he was the political instructor of Immediate Guerrilla Front and the former chairperson of the Salugpungan School in Alaino. Upon recovering the Banog's body, CCIB together with LGU Kapalong facilitated his burial and thereafter united with her daughter Mia. So this happened more or less around 2 months after Mayen surrendered to CCIB. And this was during the burial of Banog last Sunday. He was buried in Situmuling, in Barangay Gulitan, Kapalong. So this not with this news, we had sought our help to contact her mother and siblings in UCCP Taran. She still has 4 siblings in UCCP Taran. Mayen later said that one of her dreams after surrendering is to get her family back together, his father Banog included. But Mayen is now faced with the hard truth that this dream of hers has become impossible now. She puts all the blame to CPP-NPA and the cohorts who have exploited and destroyed not only her, but her entire family. As I conclude, let me highlight the following facts. The CPP-NPA continues to recruit, use, and exploit children for their terroristic acts. This is a clear violation of the international humanitarian law and blatant disrespect to the basic rights of our children. Other than our children, the CPP-NPA continues to exploit other vulnerable sectors of our society, women, our indigenous peoples, and the poor. The CPP-NPA destroys the basic unit of our society, which is the Filipino family. The CPP-NPA only cares about their own members when they are useful and convenient. They easily abandon them when they are sick and no longer useful. Lastly, nothing good will ever come out of the CPP-NPA. Many have already died, are severely ill, or are facing life and death situations, while many futures are now uncertain. While we call on everyone to unite with us in condemning the atrocious acts of the CPP-NPA, we do not wish to part with you today on a sad note. Thus, we encourage you to take these stories out in the light of hope, to see the silver lining that today, even with these dark truths, our brothers and sisters in front of you, and many others who have chosen to lay down their arms and return to their families and to the folds of the law and live a life of peace, they have all been given another chance. They have been gifted with an opportunity to start anew. And with all of our help, we can be confident that they will be able to carry on and enjoy this gift. We will live here facing two sides of the truth, the bad, the good. On the one side, the truth that the CPP-NPA continues to terrorize our people with their lost cause. On the other, the more obvious truth that more and more people are now discovering their evil ways, and that we are getting nearer and nearer to the time when this communist terrorist group will no longer hold any power to threaten the historical peace. In the end, we at the 60IP, along with our partners and friends, believe that the truth and the good will eventually prevail. Maraming salamat.
Let's give a warm round of applause as we give thanks to Lieutenant Colonel Ronaldo Sarmiento of the Philippine Army, the commander of the 60th Infantry Battalion. Just a recap, we have here alias Mayet Cristel. She is 16 years old, age recruited 14 years old. We also have here Christine Pink Wika, 17 years old, recruited 14 years old. We have here alias Otto Echo Paul, 16 years old, recruited when he was 15 years old. Alias Marga Amihan Kazumi, 15 years old, age recruited 13 years old. Jimboy Rafael, age 21 years old, age recruited 14 years old. John Alex, 22 years old, recruited when he was 19 years old. We also have here Mary Ann, okay. 22 years old when she was recruited. Alias Chacha, Richie, or Gareb. Okay. Age recruited 15 years old. Okay. And Toldok, Master, or the Aster Plus. No? Age recruited when he was 21 years old. Okay. We would like to give thanks to our friends in the media who are online. Okay. Aside from those mentioned by Lieutenant Colonel Sarmiento, we also have from Philippine Information Agency Region 11. We have from DXGO Action Radio, DXRD 711. We would like to also give our courtesies and papasalamat for organizing this event, the Division Public Affairs Office, headed by Captain Mark Tito. Then, before we finally open the floor to the question and answer portion, we'd like to give our key panelists the opportunity to say their opening statements. We'd like to start with the Provincial Director of the NCIP, Mr. Roger Lumbin.
Good morning po sa lahat. Mayong buntag sa tanan. Of course, sa invitation ni General Torres, sir. Thank you. O kay General Durante, sir. O kay Colonel Sarmiento. And of course, ato ang ground partner sa local government unit, in the person of Honorable Timbol, our beloved Mayor of Kapalong. O ato ang partner sa DSWD, sa regional office, sa CHR, sa PSWD Davao del Norte, and of course kang Dato Art Davao, o sa other visitors nga uban sa ato karon, o sa ato ang mga rebel returnees karon nga naa dinhi sa ato ang atubangan. Mayong buntag. And this morning, importante kayo sa ato ani siya tanan, especially labi na gyud sa ato ang mga indigenous peoples. Kay usa ni siya ka another proof actually nga sa ato sa exploitation against indigenous peoples nga diin recruit even minors, walang patawad, na-recruit siya sa mga NPA to go against the government. O tungod ni ana, the other agencies and the NCIP, we are alarmed nga dapat matulukan ni siya o kung doon na may mga issues being capitalized na aron ma-exploit kini siya nga mga pamatanon, ang ato ang gobyerno is trying its best na ma-address kadto nga mga issues, no? Like for example, the issues sa the housing, no, mga social services, ug uban pa nga gikinahanglan sa atong indigenous peoples nga kanunay ginabalik-balik nga issue, and even sa education nga maoy usa sa pinaka effective weapon nga ginagamit nga kuno wala siya ma-address sa government. Ang ato ang gobyerno is very sincere, bilang sincero kundi bisan sa limited resources is it is really trying its best, no, nga ma-address, and siguro to cite for one, the local initiative is the making of makeshift schools nga diin ang NCIP naga-extend og tabang usab niini, although doon ay medyo tedious process sa FPIC, but then we tried our best na kana siya nga process will not hamper sa pag-address sa education. So doon ay mga gina-simplify nga ginahimo nato, particularly no dito sa Talaingod with 56 IB nga mga certifications para lang kining makeshift schools nga construction will proceed, no, while mahimong to follow ang kadtong mga documents nga kinahanglan. What I'm trying to say nga ginahimo gid nato ang tanan nato makaya mahimo para lang gyud matabangan ang atong indigenous peoples nga para dili na sila malingla, dili na sila ma-deceive, no, sa pagkigbatok diha sa ato ang gobyerno. Kundi ma-mainstream nato ang atong indigenous peoples with the effort pud sa NCIP, nagapaningkamot nga di lang sa land recognition and even other services, especially sa education, gipaningkamutan sa NCIP and with other government agencies, particularly sa local government unit sa municipal ug sa probinsya. In fact, our very own governor is very visible sa mga GIDA areas, no, tungod kay pagpadayag, pagpakita nga the government is really sincere to extend sa iyang tabang. Daghang salamat.
Thank you so much, Sir Roger Lumbin. As we are requested to proceed with the question and answer portion, we'd like to first introduce to you again and to give their opening statement si Miss Mayet Cristel. She used to be the squad medic, Primera Andoy Platon. She comes from Talaingod, Davao del Norte. Let's give her the chance to say her piece about her experience. Ato siya pasultihon, si Mayet. Pasultihon nato si Mayet. Mahitungod sa iyang experience. Tulo na ni sila ka chosen nga panelist among the ranks sa atong mga friends, no, nga mo storya. Atong unahon si Mayet. Okay. Mayet. So, atong dasigon sa masipang palakpak si Mayet. Mayet. Yan, si Mayet. Sige, Mayet, istorya ang imuhang mga kasinatian. Oo.
Sige, ako aramang ka-istorya. Kasi nati ang yun ako na apa ko sa sulod. Kaning grabe yung kalisod, na grabing sakripisyo nga maagian, na niya kaning hagrag yun ako sa mga minor de edad pa nga di na gyud magsunod sa amo ang mga naagian, di na kaning mag testing sa amo ang naagian kay lisod yun o usa pa di kaning ang ilang pang propaganda sa atoa dili gyud na tinuod ana di gyud na tinuod ang pang istorya sa mga NPA ana igura gyud ta nila gi atik nga kanang pasabtunta nga aning dili gyud maayo ang gobyerno nga na kuan man pud nako nga maayo man gyud di ay di subot pasabot dili gyud tinuod ang ilang pang propaganda sa atoa ana nga awhag pud nako sa mga mga anak kaparehan ako og edad mga underage di gyud magsunod sa amo ang naagian ana mga kasinatian kay dili ni di gyud maayo nga mag NPA ta ano nga awhag pud nako sa ako ang pamilya nga naa sa Davao ano nga hinahanglan mag-uli na kay kanang para mahiusa na gyud ang sa pamilya ana matipo na gyud mi unta nya kana raman.
Okay. Mao kato si Mayet, 16 anyos og na-recruit siya kaniadtong 14 anyos pa siya. So atong dasikon sa masipang palakpak si Miss Mayet. Musunod nga mohatag sa iyahang kasinatian si Christine, no? Christine, 17 years old si Christine karon og nag-recruit siya na adtong 14 anyos pa siya. Take it away, Christine.
Mayong buntag.
Mayong buntag, Christine.
Sige. Ang una sa mga kasinatian pa nako sa kalihokan. Kanang ginaingon bitaw nato nga lisod kayo kanang hilabi na sa panahon sa kuan nato kaning pag kuan jud sa unag jud nga kuan kasinatian nako kanang pagbaming ana nga naa pag yun namatay nga kuyog pod namo nga pila ka adlaw pod sige pod og sakripisyo nga pagdala-dala og pasyente kanang nga mga samaron pod nga way kan anay pod nga sige glakaw ana hilabi na pod nga tubig ra in town among ginakaon ana sa una tong pag kuan gyud namo nga pila ka semana nga way kan anay ana nya sa kuan pag yun kanang samoa kanang wa gyud klaro nga pag ginakuan pod sa amo ang mga pag-recruit nga mga underage ana kay dili unta nga kuan gyud kay nga ang mga underage daw mao daw nga pa kuanon daw kay kanang dili daw mayong pagka kuan sa ila nga kanang pagtarong bitaw nga pangidabuhian ana wala daw klaro ang pangidabuhian karon daw sa mga kuan kay ngano daw ang gobyerno daw ang bungkag sa panginabuhian daw sa mga lumad karon mao tong ginapropaganda sa MPA sa amoa mo na nga ang mga kami nga isip mga underage na kuan ra gyud mi sa ilaha nakasabay ra gyud mi sa ilaha nga gipropaganda sa amoa ana kay ikaw daw kung ma-influencean gid ka anang pagpropaganda sa kuan. Pero karon gipamatud anamo kami mismo ang nagpamatuod. Wala gay mi nakatarong og panginabuhi nga naa na Miss MPA. Dili man di ay nga tinuod ang pagpropaganda sa mga MPA karon sa atoa. Ana igo ra tagi atik, igo ra tagi bakaka nila. Ana kay mo na karon hagit gyud nako sa kabatan-unan ug kauban nako nga isip lumad ana kinahanglan jud kung naapay mo recruit sa inyo hadi gyud mo maminaw kay ngano kay ginaingon lagi nato giatik rata sa mga MPA ron kay sila ang pinakadakog kuan bakak nila ana kay ginakuan gyud nato may pag magpadayon ta mag-eskwela ana kay naamang gyud kanang nagapadayon man gyud ta nagakuan pero Kaptumang jud niya, hilabi na po daw ang gipropaganda sa amoa ang gobyerno. Anak, kung mangambak daw sila daw ang magbastrok sa amoa ripon kung naay mangambak nga MPA daw nga mga bae. Mao tong gipropaganda sa amoa pero gipamatud anamo karon, mapag-ambak namo karon nga kuan pud nga dili man day tinuod ana. Kay murag ginadaot ra pud mi nga isip mga kabatan-unan og kalumaran murag giwad-an mig katungod. Ana nga di kung kita pa unta na mas kuan jud nato nga simpre ginakutaw pag yun sa MP ang atong hunahuna ron. Ana kay dili man jud nga tinuod na pero karon napantud-an jud nako butan mismo ang mga sundalo karon mas mismo sila ang nagbuhi sa amoa. Ug nagatabang po bisag gamay na gihatag sa amoa kung unsa among ginapangayos ilaha mo hatag pero dito kasi imperon halos suporta sa pamilya wala mangayo kag tambal sa para ihatag nato sa pamilya wala kay ginaingon nato dira nga imbes ang mga MPA sila daw ang mutabang sa pamilya kung magkalisod pero karon halos ang pamilya nako naggalisod walay kanunon sa matag adlaw pero wala man gihatag sa MPA ron nga suporta. Mas lipay pa ko karon ang naanak ko diri as gobyerno kay naa pa ikahatag nga bisag gamay ana. So katuraman congratulations.
Okay, congratulations Christine sa pagbalik na sa gobyerno. So si Christine ay atong ipahibalo nga gikan siya sa Kapalong, Davao del Norte. Swerte kay siya kay na diri si Mayor. Musunod si Cha.
May buntag di ay siyempre kuan kun sa ako subay sa pagkuan ako to sulod 2017 ko nagsampa wala ako nagsampa bisita ra unta gikuha ko sa kong papa dito sa eskwelahan sa City CSM Miss Fee tapos giuban ko niya dito sa kalihukan matud pa niya bisita tapos nagingon ako nga gusto na ko muuli para mo eskwela tapos wala man ko gipauli sa kong uyuan nga si makatindog kay matud palagi kanang walay unsa pa may ulian nimo dito sa gawas nga wala may klaro imong pamuyo didto na tapos kung sa mga ano pod labi na sa isgutan ng kasinatian sa kanang gamay pod nga kasinatian sa labi na sa isgutan ng face to face nga kuan na binuthanay sulod sa isa ka tuig na ay 5 ka nakasinati kog binuthanay tapos kuan ang pag-ihisgutan ng pagdumala kung sa primero pa atimanon pa ka ang alagaan pa ka pero sa pipila ka tuigan di bali ko ano ba kanang murag pasagdaan na dili sa ingon na kuan kanang ang ako lang kanang ang ilang kuan ba kanang ginaingon nga promise sa mo ang pamilya nga suportaan sa unang higayon nakasuporta tuod pero pila ra pud ka bulan hangtod sa pila ka tuig nga pagserbisyo namo dito sa isgutan ng NPA wala na gyud sila nakasuporta sa amo ang pamilya. Ang among pamilya ultimo gani dili ta makatawag, dili ta makabisita. Kay kung mobisita ka patyon daw ka sa sundalo. Ilabi na kung sa isgutan ng pagsurrender. Kung lalaki torturon, kulatahon, kung ang babae rapon. Matod pa sa ginaingon nga ang kinatao sa mga babae kuanan jud og kanang kahoy matod pa. Tapos kana kuan labi na sa kuan hapit man pud ko na biktima dito sa akong igagaw matong ipabarog na ako nga dili jud tungod kay sayop man gyud Na tapos mo tong kuan. Grabe ang kuan matud pa dito alagi sa NPA. Sila kuno ang tinuod nga muling kawas sa grabing kalisod sa katawhan. Sila kuno ang muingon nga magpalambo ning isigutan ng kalambuan sa atong nasod. Ginaingon nga ang NPA maoy tinuod nga sundalo sa kabos, sundalo sa katawhan. Pero ang nagasuporta ang katawhan na baliktad. Makita man gyud karon hilabi na sa kuan nga dili jud tinuod ang NPA nagasuporta sa katawhan.
Okay, Cha. Cha,
Hello. Kana tapos
ato lang ilista ng microphone. Cha, sige po.
kana tapos kuan jud mismo labi na sa paghisgutan ng pagpropaganda sa masa sa NPA, sa hisgutan ng NPA kung magpropaganda sila sa masa bago pa lang gani ginasugo na dayong nila tapos mismo ang NPA ra gyud tinuod ang nagapainit sa masa nahisgutan ng kuan sa kinabuhi sa masa kana tapos mo nang awhag lang yun nako hilabi na sa mga kaigsunan mga kaparentihan nako diya sa NPA hinaot nga muuli na mo tinuod dili tinuod ang ginaingon ninyo napamatud-an sa pila ka semana bulan sa mga nanurrender karon nga dili jud kamo ang tinuod nga sundalo sa kabos kay kung tinuod pala mo nga sundalo sa kabos ang tanang katawhan karon kung sa mga gipanginahanglan naa pero wala na natuman mo nang hilabi na sa akong igsuon karon kung asa man ka si Aba mo nang muuli na gyud kana lang.
Okay, mao ka to si Cha, no? 15 years old siya nung na-recruit siya. So 4 years and 9 months ang kanyang duration sa stay sa mga communist terrorist group, no? So dili tinuod ang istorya sa mga communist terrorist group. Mga bata na ang gastorya, no? Dili gid na mo limod ang mga bata. Mga bata magtug-an mga kasinatian, no? Sa atong ablihan, let's open now the floor for the questions coming from our friends in the media. Let's start with John Paul Senyel from iDocyo. Nakauban na pilar kay siya sa iyang iDocyo. Sir John? Okay.
Thank you, Ma'am Jean. And by the way, I'm John Paul Siniel from iDocu, a YouTube channel doing documentaries. Been partnering with the efforts of our government, especially the campaign sa NTF-LCAP. Now, it's very clear violation po sa karapatan ng ating mga kabataan na they were recruited by the New People's Army and the CPP. After po na sumurrender sila and they're under custody of the Department of Social Welfare and Development, alam natin na nalabag yung kanilang mga karapatan. Are we pursuing a case against the CPP and NPA? And who are the personalities na sasampahan natin ng kaso para sa ating mga IP children? NCIP or CHR?
Mayong buntag sa tanan. Thank you for that question, sir. Ang CHR manggod is mandated to conduct investigations on all forms of civil and political rights, especially to the members of our vulnerable sector, which includes ang children. To the information of everyone, ang recruitment and use of children during armed conflict is a form of grave child rights violation. That is also in violation of Protocol 2 of the Convention on the Rights of the Child pertaining to the recruitment and use of children during armed conflict. Also, we also, as a response to that obligation by the government, the Philippines, marami tayong mga balaod nga gihimo in pursuance of our obligation to provide what we call remedies to these violations sa mga bata. Ang pinaka-recent natong balaod is kaning Republic Act 11188 or kaning gitawag natong CSAC law. On the part of the Commission on Human Rights, we are currently conducting investigation on the cases of this former CAC. When I say CAC, former children involved in armed conflict. We don't call them as child soldiers, but CAC. Since na-release sila, ang atong 10 offers and 60 IB has been coordinating with us, asking for help. So, ang CHR, after its investigation, when we find any violations of human rights, the rights of the children, as a recommendatory body, we will be endorsing our findings to appropriate government agencies like the Department of Justice for possible filing of violations of these existing laws.
Sir, kindly use microphone.
So far, sir, na marami na po bang cases na naiparating natin sa Department of Justice, and what are the status of these cases, sir?
Currently, sir, the CHR has been monitoring a lot of cases of violations of this, the UNCRC, but it is only for this moment that as far as Davao region is concerned, that we have a coordination with our Philippine military, the Philippine Army. So possibly, for the information of everyone, meron na kaming nakuha na affidavits nila. Hindi lang namin pwede i-disclose kung ano yung magiging actions because under investigation pa siya.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir, for that action. Second question, last na lang, Ma'am Jean. Yes po, sir.
We'd like to recognize Major General Torres.
Thank you,
Opo.
Ma'am Jean. Just a rejoinder to the reply of our colleague, the Provincial Director of CHR, Atty. Albay. On the part of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, we have a particular office in Camp Aguinaldo that looks into the violation of human rights of the CTG. So just very recently, the office under Brigadier General Joel Naknak, who heads that office, it used to be called AFP Human Rights Office. They have compiled more than 500 cases of recruitment of children joining the armed group, the NPA. So the compilation of these different instances were submitted to the National CHR and the United Nations Commission on Human Rights. And I was informed that the following Republic Acts were obviously violated, as narrated and testified, based on the testimonies of the children that we have at the moment, as our panelists. The following laws were violated. RA 11188, known as the Act Providing for the Special Protection of Children in Situations of Armed Conflict and Providing Penalties for Violations thereof. RA 7610, Special Protection of Children Against Abuse, Exploitation, and Discrimination Act. and RA 10364, an act expanding Republic Act 9208, entitled An Act to Institute Policies to Eliminate Trafficking in Persons, especially women and children, establishing the necessary institutional mechanisms for the protection and support of trafficked persons. So we just hope that with that submission of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, appropriate charges would be submitted and prosecution will be done along the way. No? So what we will do now is we will extract cases that are happening here in our region, particularly in Davao del Norte, so that we can have a reference that we can follow up. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Last
Thank
question.
you so much, Major General Torres, regarding cases filed.
Last
Follow-up po.
follow-up question, Ma'am Jean. Sir, upon hearing the testimonies of our former rebels, lalo na sila po ay mga minor, they have been deceived, tapos may mga sinasabing kung ano yung sundalo. Upon hearing sa kanilang testimony na meron silang na-experience na totoong pagmamahal from our Philippine Army, the soldiers, habang kayo na nakikinig sa kanila, how do you feel for General Torres and sa 1001st Brigade Commander?
Thank you once again, JP, Seniel. Well, listening to the commander of 60 Infantry Battalion a while ago, and also hearing the testimonies and narration of of Mayet, Chacha, and Christine, 3 young women or children who were recruited when they were still minors. I cannot help but feel sorrow, feel sadness in my heart. No? But at the same time, anger towards the communist terrorist group. So they can easily, madali na, tignan mo sila parang anak ko na yan. Parang anak na natin yan. And I cannot imagine myself na meron akong anak na 14 years old pa lang. We're already deceived. We're already abused to live in the mountains and be deprived of education. And childhood life, they were deprived. So I feel that much of anger when they were relating those things to me and how they were deceived to believe that the government does not care, that the military will harm them, that the government will not provide them anything. So those are clear deceptions just to make their lives even harder. So, but also I am happy that I am here today, JP, with the, sabi nga natin, with the players or stakeholders to make the whole of nation approach work. Because aside from those narratives who are really sad to hear, there is hope. There is really hope. So just like what you are witnessing now, you have in front of us representatives from the different agencies, particularly from the DSWD with RD Cui here, and of course the mother of Kapalong, Davao del Norte, Mayor Timbol, and representative from the provincial government, Ma'am Rapista of Davao del Norte, DSWD, from the CHR also, from the NCIP particularly, because all of these children, and even alias Bato, who is now 48 years old, no, they are all IPs. So we also have Datu Davao with us and our barangay captain. So everybody is helping out to address these challenges, to rectify the errors, the abuses, and the deceit that were made by the communist terrorist group against these individuals, particularly the children. So sabi nga ni Colonel Sarmiento kanina, although the narratives are very sad, no, narratives of deceit, of abuse, of death, we can still see a silver lining at the horizon because the whole of government is helping out. to provide services, to give hope, to make them study, because most of them, as I was talking to them a while ago, yung mga bata, all they want is to learn. All they want is to be educated. All they want is to have a better life for their family. And those things, kami po sa military, together with the stakeholders and partners that we have in this part of our country, will do our level best to provide all these services so that they will no longer be deceived. Hindi na po sila maloloko, hindi na po sila maaabuso, at matigil na po yung walang kasaysayan o walang katuturan ng mga kamatayan na nagbibigay pa ng pighati at kawalan ng pag-asa sa ating mga kapatid. So that is how I reacted, JPS, upon hearing the testimonies and the narratives that were brought forth a while ago. Thank you.
Maraming salamat po, Major General Torres. An input from Brigadier General Jesus Durante.
The part of 101st Brigade, of course, we are deeply sad that this has been continuing. Actually, this has been an ongoing issue kahit noon pa about the recruitment of the children for they said for the said revolutionary cause. So nakita natin ngayon based on their testimonies, and these children don't lie. They were recruited, they were misled, and they were deprived of everything. Kahit sa bundok, there was even an attempt of abuse, harassment or abuse among these children. So kami sa brigade, of course, on our part, we are here to support the program of the government, and this is a holistic approach. Kaya nandito yung mga representatives to include sa social welfare and of course sa human rights and the local government itself. So we are here just to support the program of the government. So we don't feel actually hatred among dito sa mga NPA, but of course kami naaawa rin sa kanila because we know that they themselves have been deceived. Itong kung anong paniniwala nila ngayon, but nandiyan pa rin sila sa bundok. So, and also, like what our division commander have said, we are glad that finally some of these NPA regulars have realized kung ano ang totoo, kung nasaan sila ngayon, kung ano ang sinasabi nilang ideolohiya, ano mga pagsisinungaling, at the deceit and lies na indoctrinate sa kanila, ay alam nila lahat ito ay isang pagkakamali. Kaya marami ngayon actually ang nagsibabaan to join the fold of government, to be reintegrated to the mainstream society. So lahat tayo dito sa division, dito sa brigade, at the whole nation itself actually is calling for this holistic approach from top to bottom, from the national government down to the local government para matapos na ito, and for the NPAs, NPA regulars na to follow suit itong mga nandito ngayon, mga former rebels na bumaba na. And we call for peace and unity, especially dito sa ating region. So yun lang po ang mensahe ng ating brigade.
Maraming salamat po, Brigadier General Jesus Durante. Quick follow-up po dun sa statement ni Brigadier General, Major General Torres. Question from Grace Saron of Mindanao Times. Yung 500 cases of children recruited sa NPA movement, nationwide na po ba yun, General? Tapos another question is, dito po sa 10th Infantry Division, mas dumadami po ba ang recruitment or wala na po kayong napapansin?
Once again, thank you, Grace, for that question. Yes, the figures that I've mentioned a while ago, or the figure, yung 500 plus is nationwide already. But these are collection of information on reported possible violation against children in situation of armed conflict. So these are, I do not know how many of these more than 500 reported instances were already filed in court. But yes, these are information available, submitted to the CHR, UNCHR, and made known also to the legal cooperation cluster of the NTF-ELCA. And I would presume that the legal cooperation cluster is working on it, but I just do not know right now exactly how many were already filed in court. Now, going to the second question, if the recruitment has still been going on, I just would like to cite some statistics as to the number of CTGs, their manpower. But I would be giving these statistics pertaining to the whole coverage of the 10th Infantry Division, meaning the whole of 11th Region 11, some parts of Region 12, some parts of Bukidnon, and some parts of Agusan del Sur and Surigao del Norte. So we are gaining in terms of manpower because in 2016, around more or less 900 CPP or active CPP-NPA members were confronted. But of that number, it is already down to about 210. So that's for the number. So meaning it is implied that the recruitment has already been significantly nabawasan na po natin, lalong-lalo na sa mga bata. And we thank the whole of government approach when the CTG influence schools were closed. There were 82 in our area of responsibilities. Sa Lugpungan, Misfi, and other CTG influence schools were closed because these were the breeding grounds of recruitment. And even Haran, no, breeding ground of recruitment. Doon nang galing po si Mayet. She was there when she was 9 years old, and she was nurtured there to have a different thinking against the government. Kaya nung 14 years old siya, as a CEO ng 60 IB narrated a while ago, 16 years old, nung she was 14 years old, naging regular na member na siya. Mas malaki pa po yung kanyang armas na hawak. Pinapaglakad siya sa bundok. This has to stop. No? We have to provide better hope, better education for the children. So, yun po, aside from the manpower that was significantly reduced already, even the number of guerrilla fronts that we are confronting. Again, in 2016, ang bilang po niyan ay 17 guerrilla fronts with 6 pulang bagani companies. So right as I speak right now, we are only confronting 5 guerrilla fronts. 3 of them are already weakened. And no more pulang bagani company. In terms of firearms, back in 2016, 1,150 po ang firearms dito sa AOR ng 10th Infantry Division. Sa ngayon ay 250 na lang po yan. So going back to the question, yes, we are winning against the CTGs. We are able to cut down their recruitment and even their resources. In terms of resources, the highest in the recent year na na monitor natin from their extortion, umabot ng 200 million plus. That was in 2017. So ngayon pong taon na ito, nung first quarter, medyo mataas pa yung monitor natin extortion nila, 1.2 million. Pero from 200 million plus in 2017, that's a significant drop. And second quarter of this year, yung 1.2 na yon, naging 90,000 na lang po. And we are happy to report to the public that in the area of 10th ID, in third quarter, wala po tayong na-monitor na nagbibigay o nag-give in sa mga extortion ng mga kalaban. So ma'am, Ma'am Grace, it is not only on the recruitment that we are really gaining in our fight against insurgency, but also in terms of manpower, in terms of the number of guerrilla fronts, in terms of extortion. So there is really hope that towards the end of this year, and probably towards the end of the term of our present Commander-in-Chief, we can establish the necessary mechanism so that we can sustain all our gains, so that we can all enjoy yung ating minimithi na pangarap to have lasting peace and sustainable development. So I hope I answered your question, Ma'am Grace. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that revealing data, Major General Ernesto Torres. Okay. Magbibigay ng tugon ang ating panelist from the Department of Welfare and Development, si Sir Ronald Ryan Queen.
I would just like to add to the statement of Major General Torres. For DSWD, we are directed by our secretary, Honorable Secretary Bautista, to give to have an active participation, for these LCAC activities. To add to the answer of Major General Torres, for the part of the DSWD, we have our provision of this livelihood settlement grant, which is a maximum amount of 20,000 per former rebels. Ito yung tugon ng ating gobyerno so that pagbalik loob nila sa government, meron silang livelihood, to bring food to their table. Kasi ito yung isang concern talaga ng mga former rebels, yung mga food on the table, and I believe this data is relevant, kasi yung sa former rebels namin, ang accomplishment ng DSWD, way back at last year 2020, we were able to cater 200 former rebels for the livelihood settlement grant, but ang laki ng tinaas ngayong 2021, as of September 3rd, we already have 819 na cater namin na former rebels. So this shows na successful po yung ng LCAP, through the efforts of the stakeholders. Yun lang po. Thank you.
Okay, we would like to address our local chief executives for the second set of questions from Ms. Grace Saron of Mindanao Times. Taunahon si Ma'am Timbol, the mother of Kapalong. How would the local government unit in Davao del Norte sustain the services in order to prevent the recruitment of children to the NPA movement?
Okay, mga good noon sa lahat. For the local government unit of Kapalong, we invested so much on the education of our children.
Yes.
So as of this date, for Barangay Gupitan alone, the most affected barangay in Kapalong, talking about insurgency, we already have 34 elementary schools. We have 8 secondary schools offering junior and senior high school. And our local college, KCAST, we opened our branch right in situ Patil in Barangay Gupitan. And as of this date, we already have 60 students. We already have third-year students, college students in Barangay Gupitan. If we look into the situation of our minors, nakita natin na they were deprived talaga ng education. Kaya madali silang maatik, sabi ni Chacha, ni Mayet, and si Christina, madali silang maatik. Kasi nga kulang yung education ng mga kabataan natin. And ako as a mother, I believe ito ang pinakamalaking investment ng gobyerno into the education of our children. So by school year 22-23, my first batch of graduate na kami sa local college namin na KCAST from Barangay Gupitan. Libre po yan, walang bayad, libre po ang tuition. So, kumbaga yung mga schools, dinala na natin doon sa Gupitan. Right in the sitios, nandoon na yung mga elementary and secondary schools. Kaya walang reason na hindi makapagtapos ang ating mga IP children. And for the information then, we have hired 27 local school board teachers na nagtuturo sa Barangay Gupitan. 90% of that are IP teachers. Graduate na rin ng local college ng Kapalong. So mas mapadali ang pagturo sa kanila kasi unang maintindihan nila yung culture ng tribo. Because we have to preserve that, kahit na na-educate sila, they should never forget their culture. They have to preserve that. Kaya yun ang naging magandang investment ng local government. It's a sustainable program, hindi yung kumbaga yung hindi lang band-aid na na solusyon sa problema ng insurgency. And of course it includes yung kalsada, no, kasi yun ang isa sa mga pinakaunang hinihingi nila. So we're ongoing yung national road opening that traverse Gupitan going to Loreto Agusan, and another one going to Namnam Bukidnon. Kaya yung sa Barangay Gupitan, dalawang national highways na po ang kung makomplete, hopefully by next year makompleto na talaga. So malaking improvement ang nangyayari. Yung issues ng taga-kabila, walang kalsada, hindi na yung totoo. Yung issues na walang hanap buhay, hindi rin totoo. Kasi lahat ng mga nadaanan ng mga kalsada na yan is may produkto ang ating mga IPs natin sa Barangay Gupitan. And in fact, by November, we have another sitios, 4 sitios will be opened. Partner natin ang 534th Engineer Construction Battalion na mag-open na naman ng kalsada that will traverse 4 na sitios. So by November, hopefully ma-start na yung road opening na yan. Partner natin ang provincial government and the AFP through the 534th.
Okay, thank you so much, Honorable Tess Timbol. Real figure cited, real solutions. We'd like to listen to the inputs coming from the provincial government of Davao del Norte, represented by Ma'am Rose Rapista, the Social Welfare Officer. Ma'am Rose Rapista.
Good noon to everyone. In behalf of the province of Davao del Norte, good noon to everyone. In behalf of the province of Davao del Norte, our governor, Honorable Kuya Edwin Ayubahib, we all know that our governor is very much supportive to this EO70. And I would like to assure kaning ato ang mga nag-surrender karon, kaning atong kabatanunan, rest assured po that our governor is really supporting you. We're hoping that, as mentioned by our panelists, that EO70 is a whole of the nation approach. That's why we are here. So, ang atong provincial government is really supporting from the infrastructure, down to the livelihood, in coordination with, of course, with the DSWD and other stakeholders. We have there the DOLE, the TESDA, and of course, gusto nato na pagbalik nila, it's really a complete answer nato sa ilahang mga mulo ang ilang gipadangat. So for the provincial government of Davao del Norte, we have a functional halfway house, based po dito sa 60 IV. So thank you very much for the support of the EFP sir, Major Torres, and of course our battalion commander si Sir Sarmiento, for supporting us. So we have already 2 batches na po na mag-graduates sa ato ang mga former rebels. So we provided psychosocial and home life services. And pag uli po nila na sila madawat na mga livelihood assistance for them to start off their own income generating projects. And we have also medical services na i-provide while they are there sa Balay Panaghiusa. And as a support to the military, we all know that our honorable governor is really very supportive, down pa in the preparation sa ato ang mga kadalanan, as mentioned ni Mayor Timbol here, we are really supporting each and everyone sa ato ang mga local chief executives to fight against this insurgency. So that's all. Rest assured that our provincial governor is really there to support this undertaking too. Thank you so much.
Representing Governor Edwin I. Hubahib, Ma'am Rose Rapista. Let's come now to the questions from Karen De Vera. She's with us live here. Hello, Karen De Vera. Yes, Ma'am Karen. Vera from
Hello.
SMNI.
Good morning po. This is Karen De Vera from SMNI. I just want to know po if ilang guerrilla front na po ba ang namomonitor natin na active and inactive dito sa Region 11?
Hello. Yes, for the whole area of 10th Infantry Division, as I've mentioned, there are 15 guerrilla fronts, and these are the and 3 of them are weekend. No, weekend guerrilla front 18, weekend guerrilla front 2, weekend guerrilla front 3, and the others are regular guerrilla front. Guerrilla front 55, which was headed by Marikit. Kakilala siguro ninyo yan. Marikit is now with us. She surrendered. She is now helping us. A very bright young lady at the age of 28. She's been through a lot of things already. Marami na siyang pinagdaanan, and she is now, and we are now ready to help him out, pursue her dreams of a better future. At saka yung isa, yung Guerrilla Front 53. Meron pang pang-anim sana, yung Guerrilla Front Alip. Ito yung nasa lugar na ng Sarangani na under pa rin ng division. Pero lumipat na siya sa area ng Cotabato, sa 6ID area. Now going back to your question, Karen, yung dito lamang sa Region 11. So ang Region 11, particularly dito sa Davao Oriental, Davao de Oro area, nandiyan pa yung Weekend Guerrilla Front 18-2 and 2, no? Tapos dito sa area naman ni 60IB, boundary sa Agusan del Sur area, nandiyan pa yung Weekend Guerrilla Front 3. So also a part of the region, kasi Bukidnon area, Talaingod area, dati Pakibato, nandiyan pa yung Guerrilla Front 55. So going back to your question, parang 3.5 guerrilla fronts yung nag-ooperate pa dito sa area natin. But I'm happy to report to you that even right now, just as recent as yesterday, yung pong Guerrilla Front 3, may 4 na nag-surrender with 4 firearms, also high-powered firearms. So it again reduced the manpower and firearms capability of Guerrilla Front 10. And there are ongoing efforts and similar number or influx na mag-surrender din sa Guerrilla Front 2 and 18. So even as we are confronting 3 more guerrilla fronts in the region, that we can meet the deadline in dismantling these guerrilla fronts and defeating them according to the timeline set by our campaign. Thank you.
Follow up, Ms. Karen.
Ayun sir, follow-up question lang po. Ngayon po, napatapos na po ang term ni PRRD. Ano po bang inaasahan nyo para sa laban kontra CPP-NPA?
Yes, and, you are right. It really is very significant that we have a president like PRRD, our commander-in-chief, who is really passionate. He understands the insurgency problem, and he has set up this EO70 whole of nation approach in addressing the problem. So we just hope and pray that the next commander-in-chief will also have the same passion. But this last 9 months in our campaign against insurgency in this part of our country is very crucial. Very crucial because we need to dismantle or destroy the armed component as soon as possible, so that starting January, we can already focus on establishing mechanisms, mga non-military component of in ensuring that the gains will be sustained, no? Yung ating mga dreams of lasting peace and sustainable development will be realized. So ayun, the Army, the Armed Forces of the Philippines, together with its partners, will be all out. Meaning, sa armed, tsaka sa non-military activities natin, we will be doing our best in this last 2 minutes of our fight against insurgency. It is not easy. It is difficult, but with the help of everybody, the whole of nation approach, in finishing this insurgency problem, we are quite positive that we will meet the deadline and finally enjoy this victory that we are aiming for. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Major General Torres, for pointing out the need to continue the efforts of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Let's come now to the questions coming from Rodolfo Nono Sumatra of DXOW. Kuya Nono Sumatra.
Okay, daghang salamat. Ang akong question ngadto sa kang Mayor Timbol. Sa dato sa kasundaluhan, ma'am, ubay-ubay pa din sa imuhang lungsod nga ang imong katawhan naa sa pikas. Unsa bay laka nga gihimo sa LGU Kapalong?
Ang ginahimo sa local government is nag-deliver gyud mi og mga services up to sa pinaka layo no nga sitio namo sa Barangay Gupitan. Kay that's always been the issue sa taga-pikas nga walay gobyerno nga nangaabot no sa ato mga IP communities. Kaya I mentioned earlier na about sa eskwelahan, about the roads, and to add into what I said a while ago is that natay kuryente na hantod dito sa sitio Kapatagan, as far as sitio Langan, and as far as Kimataandos. And also, ang atong housing projects, nakatukod na ta, partnership with DSWD and OPAP. We have 200 houses in sitio Kapatagan. We have 60 houses in sitio Campina. 30 kabalay, mga taga-muling na itranta ka bagong balay diha. Taga-sitio Tawinian, we have 8 houses. O sa sitio Campina, motong naatay 61 houses. Kana nga mga areas were once red area. Ang nagalihok diha, ang nagpuyo, mga masa, and appeal siya sa area nga na sila shadow government nga gimugna no sa NPA. If you'll say nga daghan pa, di ko musugot ana. Kasi Kapalong only last week was declared malaria free. Ang nagadala og malaria diha ang mga NPA. Sila kanunay among sukatan. 4 years ago, 1 year nga declared na unta mi zero malaria. Pero 1 year after, bigla na inigawas na pod sa mga boundaries. Yun ang gauge na mo kanunay na napoy nakasulod kanibalik ang malaria sa Barangay Gupitan. So isa na sa among ginatanaw. And what is good for our tribal leaders, our RPS, with our barangay officials is grabe ang pagbantay nila mismo sa ilahang lugar. Mas napadali akong trabaho, napadali ang trabaho sa sa atong army. Kasi sila na mismo ang mag-report kung naay musulod silang sitio, kabalo sila, dili taga ilang lugar, o posible nga muanha kay gusto mag-recruit or nag-surrender, I think that was last year, dili taga Gupitan, sa likay-likay niya sa mga army na sa Agusan, nasa Alaak, dito sila naadto sa Gupitan o nag-trigger to nga mag-surrender sila kay gigukod man sila sa mga bagani. So balikan ako, the strategy is to let our IP people nga naagyoy tinuod nga gobyerno. Di para tong giingon nila nga giatik lang tanga silang sundalo sa mga tao. And to tell you na ay mga one time na nag-surrender, nangutan ako sa iya, nga nag-surrender ka. As simple ako di ko katuo ha. And siya nga, Mayor, ingon sila nga ang NPA daw nga akong giubanan mutabang sa kapobrehon sa mga tao. Ingon siya, kapilami nagbaktas-baktas, Mayor. Pila katindahan among giadtuan. Mag-order mig kape, dili bayaran sa akong mga kauban. Imagine kape, pila ra may ginansya ng kape, Mayor, sa tindahan nas bukid. Di nila bayaran. Moto nga, ingon ko, di sila tinuod nga mutabang sa mga pobre. Kung dili, tamot ang ingon ganin ni Cha-Cha, dili sila ang magtabang sa kupobrehon, pero sila ang nag-cause mas nahimong pobre ang katawhan nato nga naa sa bukid. Pangayuan man nila. Mangayong pagkaon, pati tindahan dili nila bayaran. Statement na sa nag-surrender sa Kapalong.
So dili taga diha, dili taga Kapalong ko, dili dayo lang. Ano nga?
Yes.
Salamat, Mayor.
Okay, thank you so much. We'd like to ask everyone here, our friends in the media who are here with us live, napabatay mga pangutana. You can sa Net25 by yourself, ma'am. We'd like to listen to the questions from Net25. Please identify yourself, ma'am.
Yes, I am
Noreen
Noreen
Michelle.
Michelle Igonio po. Yes, ma'am. Noreen Michelle Igonio po of Net25 under Eagle Broadcasting Corporation. Para po kay Brigadier General Jesus P. Durante III, sir. Ano na po ngayon ang status ng effort ninyo ng 1001st Brigade upang masolusyonan ang problema ng insurgency sa inyong area of responsibility?
Dito sa area ng 1001st, which actually area ng 1001st mainly covers Davao de Oro, part of Davao del Norte, and part of Agusan. So we are currently confronting two guerrilla fronts. Itong Weekend Guerrilla Front 2 at Weekend Guerrilla Front 3. Ito sila ngayon, dito tayo sa area which covers Weekend Guerrilla Front 3. I believe ng Weekend Guerrilla Front 3, not for long, ay manyo-neutralize na ito at makiklear na natin. Napapakita naman na nagbababaan na yung mga kasamahan nila, nagkakaroon na sila ng problema, internal problem, at lumalayo na sila dito sa ating mga bayan. Usually, ang mga sightings natin sa kanila is wala masyado ng malayo. Umaabot sila hanggang boundary Bukidnon or sa Agusan area na. So definitely that shows na mismo ang mga tao dito sa area ng 1001st Brigade, itong mga mamamayan ng Davao del Norte, ay nakikiisa sa programa ng gobyerno na upang matapos na itong problema natin sa insurgency. So, nakita naman natin na noon napakarami itong Guerrilla Front 3 dati way back 2017, 120 ang armed regular strength nila, 120. Then just this year, bumaba yan sila ng mga 48. Ngayon, we could only account up to 20 plus na lang. Kasi itong mga former rebels natin ay marami na bumababa. Kaya what they do is they would resort to recruitment. Number one nilang i-recruit is yung mga lumad at yung mga bata. Kasi yan na lang ang kaya nilang lokohin at makumbinsihin. With the promise of pera, suporta sa pamilya. May mga instances pa itong mga itong mga FRs natin, nagsimula lang as utus-utusan, courier. Then after a while, sasabihin na ng NPA, markado ka na ng sundalo. Papatayin ka ng sundalo kasi courier ka ng NPA. Sumama ka na sa amin. Ganyan ang style naman nila sa mga kabataan ngayon. So, through that, currently, the effort of 1001st Brigade, of course, with the 10th Infantry Division, is massive yung aming information operations. Kumbaga ba, ang pagbibigay ng impormasyon, especially sa mga communities. And of course, together with other agencies, may mga barangay development projects tayo nag-organize na ng mga people's organization. Definitely, ang purpose nito is not to counter itong NPA, mga kung ano yung pinagagawa na yun, kundi is para na rin sa development and progress ng each and every community and barangay dito sa area ng 101st Brigade. So maganda naman ang naging resulta. Marami ng mga NPAs ang bumababa at nagsusurrender at nag-a-avail nitong ECLIP program, which is properly addressed and they are properly supported by the different agencies and by the local government, of course, and syempre by the armed forces of the Philippines. Yun po ang programa natin ngayon.
Maraming salamat po.
Sir, so ano na po ang totoong larawan ngayon ng Guerrilla Front 3 under your area of responsibility?
Sabi ko nga, ang Guerrilla Front ay down to 20 plus na lang sila sa namin. And we are expecting more na magsusurrender pa. At ito nga, ongoing rin yung natin ngayon, effort to reach out to even up sa mga pamilya nitong mga membro nung NPA para bumalik na sa loob ng gobyerno. So within the year, we expect that we would be able to clear the area and of course itong madismantle na itong Guerrilla Front 3.
Okay, that was the last question coming
Ma'am,
from...
isa na lang po.
Sige po. Sige po. Ms. Noreen.
Lubos-lubusin ko na lang to, ma'am. Sir, for General Torres po, sir. It was mentioned earlier by the surrenderies regarding po sa UCCP Haran. Therefore, it can be deduced that the leftist organizations have received some sort of support from certain religious groups, as well as from party lists and incumbent government officials. How do we address this glaring problem, sir?
You are right, Michelle. There are some organizations who wittingly or unwittingly provided or is still providing support. Minsan alam nila, minsan hindi nila alam. But na-mention mo ang Haran kanina. So Haran is definitely a hub of recruitment and resources ng CPP-NPA, NDF dito sa region natin. Kaya nga yung kanilang mga opisyal, 6 of them ay meron na ngayong warrant of arrest to include Bishop Tekis and Jong Monson o Pasaka. No? Also, yung kanilang mga pondo na associated with the Haran, na freeze na rin yan ng AMLAC. So, what I'm trying to say here is merong mga personalities na na-identify through the mechanism ng NTF-LCAC na nagpa-file tayo ng kaso at meron ding mga organization. Even RMP, Rural Missionaries of the Philippines, there is a certain fund of RMP na freeze na rin ng AMLAC because of their reported association or support to the communist terrorist group. So at the moment, as a body, yung RTF-LCAC natin, there are groups na napapatotohanan naman ng ating mga high value former rebels, certain organizations that we are looking at, but it is still parang case at the stage of a case build up so that we can go after them para at least maputol na natin yung resources generation. But we are gaining grounds, Michelle, just like what I've reported a while ago, yung na-monitor natin ng mga resource generation nila has dwindled already into zero actually this quarter from a high of more than 200 million back in 2017. So we have the Anti-Terror Act. We have also there is a law also that criminalize yung financing or providing support to terrorist group. Since yung CPP-NPA were already proscribed as a terrorist group, anybody who is proven to be directly or indirectly supporting them, be they organization, private individual, or businesses, the whole machinery of the government would go after them. So we discourage everybody, if you are still providing support to the CPP-NPA-NDF movement, you must be aware that there are existing laws also that may be thrown to you na pwede kayong mademanda po. And the government is really doing its best to build a case against such persons and organizations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Major General Torres, for such a revealing answer. That was the last question coming from Noreen Michelle Igonia of Net25. So we'd like to share to you breaking news from 60th Infantry Battalion. We would like to inform everyone that as of today, our troops in Sitio Bagtok, that's in Barangay Gupitan, Kapalong, which have been conducting pursuit operations in connection with the recent encounter last 30 of September 2021 between our government forces and the weakened Guerrilla Front 3, have recovered a cadaver subject for identification believed to be another member of the weakened Guerrilla Front 3 involved in the said encounter. In addition, 4 more members of the weakened Guerrilla Front 3 have also surrendered to our troops with at least 4 high-powered firearms, 2 M16 and 2 M14. They surfaced and surrendered to our troops stationed at Sitio Tawinian in Barangay Gupitan, Kapalong, Davao del Norte. So the 60th IB will provide us with further details once they have arrived here, meaning dito po sa headquarters sa 60 IB for the Balik Loob Assistance Services. Yun po. Maraming salamat and congratulations to the 60th Infantry Battalion. Before we finally close, we'd like to ask brief parting statements coming from our panel. Hello. Let's start with Sir Jose Marie Fabiania of the Commission on Human Rights, representing the Regional Director of CHR, Attorney Edmond R. Albay. Sir Jose Marie L. Fabiania. Sir?
Again, with gratitude and thanks sa 60 IB and sa command sa Philippine Army for inviting us and including us in this panel. For our children, rest assured that your Commission on Human Rights are here to protect and help you promote your rights as a child. We are open for your help. If you want to ask our help, nandyan lang kami. We can be accessed either through social media and also through our hotline numbers. Again, thank you sa Philippine Army.
Sir Fabiania, balikan po natin. Provincial. Sir Roger Lumbin.
Okay, thank you po kay General Torres, sir, for inviting the NCIP for this activity. As my parting words, actually yung pinaka role ng NCIP is more of a coordinative and collaborative effort with other stakeholders. Special mention ko po si Mayor Timbol. We tried our best na to capacitate po yung IPS natin, particularly in Gupitan. Mas maganda kasi pag mismo yung ICC's IPS natin are capacitated, na kahit nakadistansya na tayo, they could be able to sustain the gains na ilahang na-establish, particularly in securing the place against the NPAs. And we are on that. May mga activities kami already conducted, and even yung ways forward namin, we also have the planned activities just to equip particularly yung mga bagani natin and the IPS para ma-sustain yung gains po nila. And also I subscribe, and that is also yung sa one of the services being boasted by the NCIP yung sa education, no, na highlight ni Mayor kanina. Yes, the NCIP itself, yung mga some of those coming out from Haran, no, we try to coordinate and collaborate with TISDA, yung mga trainings, and even yung sa SICAM po sa DSWD, may mga beneficiaries din from that Haran, no. So we tried our best na yung government natin, not necessarily NCIP, but we become instrumental na ma-extend natin po yung services towards our ICC's IPs, no?
Okay.
And not because na there is a rebellion, but because of that mandate and that moral obligation na talagang, especially yung the poorest among the poor, na kumaga they will enjoy a good quality of life, no, especially the indigenous peoples, no. So yun lang po, ma'am, and then I am looking forward, no, for continued partnership, especially the 60 IB under Colonel Sarmiento, sir. Expect po, sir, na more coordinations from now on, sir, for dito, especially para sa Gupitan area, sir. So yun lang po, no.
Yes, thank you po.
Mayor. Thank you, Mayor, sa help, and sa future engagement pa nato, Mayor. Daghang salamat.
Thank you so much. We'd like parting statement of Honorable Mayor Maria Teresa Ma'am Tess Timbol of Kapalong.
Okay, unang-una gusto ko pasalamat sa atong mga kabataan na finally nag-decide mo nga mubalik na ta sa gobyerno. Wa mo na sayop sa inyong desisyon. Kami karon nga nasa gobyerno, ma-army man, ma-police, ma-local government unit, ma-barangay man, among ginahangyo ang kung napamay mga naa sa pikas, we welcome you with open mind and open heart. Nga mag-usa na ta kay para napamantay problema sa pandemic, nga kaning problema sa insurgency is unta mahuman na o matuldo ka na. Ug mabalik, mabuo ang inyong mga pamilya, malipay ang matag-usa kay kita mga Pilipino, ang pinaka-importante sa ato kanunay is ang ato ang pamilya. Willing ta mo sakripisyo para sa atong pamilya. So hinaot nga akong balikon, balik na tang tanan ug ang gobyerno na kanunay para mag-alalay kung saan the best nga mahatag para sa inyo nga mobalik in the fall sa gobyerno. And God bless sa tanan.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Tess. Representing Honorable Governor Edwin Ayhu Bahib, let's listen to the parting statement of the PSWD of Davao del Norte. Ma'am Rose.
Once again, good afternoon. In behalf po sa atong Provincial Governor, Kuya Edwin Ayhu Bahib, ang kanunay kumpanya ni Kuya Gob is magbaba na, no? Ginaawag niya ang tanan katong naapa sa kabukiran na magbaba na magkayusa ta sa gobyerno. And rest assured, no, that our provincial government is really there. Anytime, 24/7, so 100% po full support ni Kuya Gob Edwin Bahib and the rest of the departments for this to end this insurgency problem. So daghang kaayong salamat ug maayong utro.
Daghang salamat, ma'am. Balikan po natin ang Officer in Charge of DSWD Region 11, si Sir Ryan Quay.
Sa pagkausa, mahayag na buntag sa tanan. And I would like to thank si Major General Torres, Brigadier General Durante, si Lieutenant Colonel Sarmiento. As I have said earlier, we were given a direct order from our Honorable Secretary to actively participate sa NTF LCAC activities. Ang DSWD is our mission is really for among mga programs is for the poor, vulnerable, and disadvantaged sectors. No, we are looking at the welfare of those mentioned sectors. For the part of DSWD, as I have said earlier, as you can see, I have with me the team of EO70. It shows na our Secretary Bautista is really very serious, in so, to actively participate, no, for this EO70. For DSWD, no, para mahibalaan pud sa ato ang mga nibalik sa sabakan sa gobyerno, no, ang DSWD mo provide og kanini ang ginatawag natog livelihood settlement grant. Nagkantidad ni siya, no, maximum of 20,000 pesos, no. Kani siya para ni sa makasugod mo negosyo ug kay kani kung naay livelihood ang usa ka pamilya, no, ang usa ka former rebel, no, nagi mabati gid niya nga naay malasakit ang gobyerno, no, sa ilahang pagbalik sa sabakan sa gobyerno. Sa 20,000, no, it is just ang requirement is just a certification from JAPIC, endorsed by ICLIP, no. And aside from the 20,000 livelihood settlement grants, no, dungagan pa namo na og amo ang ginatawag sa programa namo sa assistance to individual in crisis situation, no. For the former rebels, no, kaning AIX nato, no, we will be providing food assistance, no, with a maximum amount of 5,000 pesos. So ang gigahin sa DSWD, no, sumutal for our former rebels is 25,000 pesos, no. Kaya para mabati gyud nila nga naay suporta ang gobyerno, no, sa inyuhang pagbalik loob sa gobyerno. And to implement this program, no, we are just a call away, no. Naman po may mga Facebook page, so just let us know, no. Ug daghan kayong salamat sa imbitasyon, no, at least mapakita namo nga ang DSWD Region 11, no, na ami malasakit aning ato ang mga former rebels. Daghang salamat og mahayag na buntag sa tanan.
Thank you so much po, Sir Quiz. Let's come now to the next set of brief parting statements. Let's start from Lieutenant Colonel Ronaldo Sarmiento, the commander of the 60th Infantry Battalion. Lieutenant Colonel Sarmiento.
Daghang salamat, ma'am. I would like to first thank the leadership of 10th Agila Infantry Division, Major General Ernesto C. Torres, sir, and of the 1001st Infantry Brigade, Brigadier General Jesus P. Durante, sir, for always guiding us and the support they are giving us in the efforts of 60 IB against weekend Guerrilla Front 3. Of course, I would also like to thank the local government units, the local chief responsibility, nandyan agad, no. Most recently itong ang encounter natin and surrender of these minors, si Ma'am Tess agad ang nag-provide ng transportation for and funeral assistance, as well as yung pag-accommodate ng Municipal Social Welfare Office ng Kapalong. So bang agency pod, no, si sir sa CHR, in fact they were here yesterday getting the affidavits of our minors for the possible filing of cases, and si Sir Lumbin pod sa NCIP. We hope to work again closely with you in the near future. Ang ating mga dato, si Dato Art and Barangay Kapitan, kanunay may mag kita-kita dito sa bukid, no, pag naatay mga pulong-pulong, naatay community support program, kanunay na naa sila dito sa bukid. Ang ato apod na DSWD headed by Sir Ronald, we are also always working with them in the granting of livelihood settlement grant for our former rebels, no. And Puhon, we will be enrolling these minor surrenderies in our ECLIP, and after that they will be doing the orientation and workshop for their respective livelihoods prior to the payout of their livelihood settlement grant. So once again, to our media partners, salamat sa pagpunta, and we hope that we could relay this message, no, of the deceit and the lies that the CPP-NPA has been propagating all these years, and hopefully this could help us prevent more recruitment into the CPP-NPA, especially yung ating minors. So once again, dagang salamat sa tanan o maayong buntag.
Okay, thank you so much, Lieutenant Colonel Sarmiento. Let's listen to the Brigadier General Jesus P. Durante, the commander of the 1001st Infantry Pag-asa Brigade.
So unang-una, dagang salamat sa tanan kay naatadere. And of course, I would like to recognize kaning effort sa atong 60IB for keeping the peace there sa area sa Davao del Norte, especially there sa Kapalong area. Para sa kalambuan o sa kalinaw there sa atong lugar. Daghang salamat.
Daghang salamat, Brigadier General Durante of the 1001st Infantry Brigade. To give us the marked message for this event today, let's listen to Major General Ernesto C. Torres, the 10th Infantry Agila Division Commander of the Philippine Army. Major General Torres.
Muling maraming salamat, Jean. As we end this press conference, allow me to leave you this one statement, which was mentioned actually by Colonel Sarmiento a while ago during his briefing. Sabi niya, the truth and the good shall prevail. Yan siguro ang mensahe ng press conference na ang kabutihan at ang katotohanan ang siyang mananaig. So with the revelation of our of Christine, of Mayet, of Chacha, no, we are convinced, no, we have heard the truth that indeed our IPs, our youth are being exploited. So I would enjoin lahat po na nag-attend ng press conference na to, particularly our friends from the media, Rodolfo, Karen, Michelle, and of course Grace and Mama Ruth who are joining us to retell their stories for the purpose of not allowing further exploitation, especially of the youth. Let us keep on telling their stories so that there will be no more Mayet, no more Christine, no more Chacha who will be abused at lolokohin pa ng communist terrorist group. So the good will prevail. Nandito po sa harap ninyo ngayon ang iba't ibang ahensya ng gobyerno. Nandito ang military para hindi na darating yung panahon na kagaya na nangyari kay Mayet, namatay sa engkwentro ang kanyang ama. We did our best to reach out to his father, si Banog, nung siya po'y sumuko nung July. Nag-exert tayo ng effort para ikumbinsi siya na sumuko na. Subalit kinulang po ng panahon. Nagkaroon ng engkwentro at siya po'y namatay. Hindi natin gusto na siya'y mamamatay. Lalo namang hindi gusto ni Mayet na mawala ang kanyang ama. Lahat tayo ay ginawa natin ang ating makakaya para siya ay makuha pa at mabuhay. Patuloy natin gagawin yan para wala nang magiging banog na maiiwan ang kanyang pamilya. Wala nang kagaya ni Tuldok na iniwan ng kanilang mga kasama, left to almost die in sickness. Tingnan nyo, iniwan lang nila yan. No? So nandito po ang gobyerno, nasa harap ninyo po ngayon, no? Nagkakaisa po kami para iparamdam sa inyo that you have a government that cares. You have a military that cares for you and will provide the needed security kung kinakailangan. Parang sa gayon ay talagang matuldukan na natin ang sumpa, no, na dinala sa atin ng CPP, NPA, NDF. Makakaasa kayo, no, lalong-lalo na yung mga kabataan, pati na rin si alias Bato na nandito kami para magtulungan kayo. Iba't ibang ahensya na kami po sa military ay isa lamang maliit na component para ipaabot sa inyo yung inyong pangangailangan at talagang matalo na natin yung insurgency. Naramdaman nyo yan. Pinahirap kayo sa bundok, kabata, 14 years old. Yun nga, mas malaki pa yung mga baril sa inyo. Ginutom kayo. Pinangakuan kayo ng supa meal na hindi naman dumating. Pinangakuan kayo ng edukasyon. Sabi nga ng kaibigan ninyong si Rory Lynn, nakasama na natin ngayon. Kailan nyo siya, no? si Rorilyn sa Talaingod, kailan ni Mamayet, no? Uhaw kayo sa edukasyon at yan ay ibibigay sa atin ng ating mga local chief executives at iba't iba pang ahensya ng gobyerno. There is hope, no, in your coming back. And this is my call sa ating mga kapatid pa na nandiyan pa rin po sa bundok at sumusuporta pa rin sa armadong pakikibaka. Pakinggan niyo po ang boses ng inyong mga dating kasamahan, ng inyong mga anak, ang inyong mga pamangkin, no, na nananawagan sa inyo na itigil na natin yung suporta natin sa CPP, NPA, NDF. Huwag na po tayong maniwala sa kanilang panglilinlang, sa kanilang pang-aabuso, nang sa gayon ay hindi na dumating pa at dumami pa yung mga patayan na nangyayari dito sa ating lugar. So yun lamang po, muli, maraming salamat Colonel Sarmiento for arranging this, and thank you very much for lending your time. Sir Cui, Ma'am Tess, of course, Ma'am Rapista, Sir Jose Marie, and of course, Mr. PD Lumbin, Dato Davao, and our barangay captain. And most especially salamat sa sa inyong paglabas, no? At pagtulungan natin to, Chacha, Mayet, na ipaalam sa mga tao na wag na tayong magpaloko. All for a better future for the youth, for the better future of Kapalong, Davao del Norte, and for the better future of our country. So magtulungan tayo. Muli, salamat sa media. Let us re-echo, let us retell their stories so that we can help out in our campaign against insurgency. Yun lamang po, magandang hapon po sa ating lahat.